The Bay Area has always loved its legends. From the electric roar that greeted Stephen Curry's first MVP season to the dynasty years that redefined modern basketball, the Golden State Warriors have lived at the intersection of art and efficiency. Yet, as the 2025-26 campaign begins, the orchestra sounds slightly out of tune. The passes are still crisp, the motion offense still elegant, but the results, too often, feel like echoes of former glory. That may be why league insiders believe the Warriors front office, led by general manager Mike Dunleavy Jr., is preparing one of its boldest plays since Kevin Durant's arrival in 2016. The target, Miami's 25-year-old scoring guard Tyler Herro, a $130 million sharpshooter whose mix of confidence, craft, and creation could inject fresh rhythm into Golden State's fading melody. The trade that set the rumor mill ablaze. The speculation began quietly in early October, when columnist Mark DeLucci floated a hypothetical swap on Golden State of Mind, Herro to the Warriors in exchange for Jonathan Kuminga, Buddy Hield, and 2 first-round picks. Within hours, social media caught fire. Could Golden State really move its athletic young forward, its newly signed veteran sniper, and the keys to future drafts for a player many view as an offense-first guard still searching for postseason validation? Privately, sources around the league didn't dismiss it. Herro fits the Warriors' DNA, one Western Conference scout told ESPN. They value spacing, unselfishness, and confidence under pressure. He checks all 3 boxes, and he's entering his prime. The potential reunion with Jimmy Butler, who reportedly requested a trade to Golden State last season before landing there in February's mid-season blockbuster, adds another dramatic twist. Butler and Herro spent 5 years together in Miami, sometimes clashing, often thriving, twice reaching the Eastern Conference Finals and one memorable trip to the NBA Finals in the 2020 bubble. Now, with Curry still lethal at 37 but increasingly reliant on health and rhythm, the Warriors see a chance to build a bridge from the dynasty era to a new offensive core. Why Golden State needs a young star? For all of Steve Kerr's strategic brilliance, the Warriors' recent seasons have revealed a recurring flaw: depth scoring. When Curry sits, their offensive rating drops by nearly 15 points per 100 possessions, the steepest decline of any playoff team last year. Klay Thompson's reduced athleticism, Draymond Green's defensive focus, and the inconsistency of younger players have magnified the void. Herro's 23.9 points and 5.5 assists per game in 2024-25 weren't empty numbers. He created 58% of his made shots without an assist, a mark that placed him among the league's top 10 in self-generated offense. In plain English, he can make something out of nothing, a skill Golden State sorely missed when Curry's calf strain sidelined him in the Western semifinals. "Tyler has that microwave gene," said a former Heat assistant. "He can heat up fast, but what people underrate is his playmaking. He's not just a shooter, he's a connector. In Golden State's system, with all that movement, he'd thrive." The salary cap chess game. Pulling off such a trade would demand more than basketball courage. It would require cap wizardry. The Warriors already sit deep in the NBA's new second apron tax territory, with a combined payroll north of $210 million. Adding Herro's $27 million annual salary while retaining Curry, Butler, and Green would push them into record luxury tax territory. Yet, owner Joe Lacob has never shied away from spending for contention. "Light years ahead" wasn't just a slogan, it was a philosophy built on calculated aggression. If the front office believes Herro could extend Curry's championship window by even 2 years, that investment might feel justified. Analysts compare the move to the 2016 Durant signing, another high-risk, high-reward play that reshaped the league. The difference this time: there's no cap spike to ease the pain. Every dollar will sting, and every miss will echo louder in Chase Center's gleaming rafters. Miami's perspective. For the Heat, Herro's departure would symbolize both change and continuity. Miami has long operated on the principle that no player is untouchable, except perhaps Butler himself. With Bam Adebayo entrenched as the franchise cornerstone and a new generation of role players emerging, moving Harrow could allow Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra to rebalance the roster. Kuminga gives them athleticism they've lacked on the wing, noted one Eastern Conference executive. And 2 first-rounders? That's capital. Riley can flip for a veteran scorer tomorrow. It's classic Heat culture, always thinking 3 moves ahead. Still, trading away a 25-year-old averaging nearly 24 points per game is no small risk. Harrow's work ethic and swagger endeared him to Heat fans, even when defensive lapses drew Spoelstra's ire. "He grew up in our system," Butler once said. "Whatever people say, that kid wants to win." Reuniting old chemistry. Should the trade happen, Butler and Harrow would reunite under far different circumstances. In Miami, Butler was the alpha and Harrow the apprentice. In Golden State, the hierarchy might be more fluid. Curry remains the spiritual leader, but Butler's intensity and Harrow's scoring could define the daily tone. Kerr has often compared his coaching philosophy to jazz, structured improvisation within shared rhythm. Harrow's creative shot-making and Butler's drive and kick game could open. Every trade is more than numbers, it's chemistry. Inside the Warriors' locker room, relationships have long defined success. The strength in numbers mantra wasn't marketing, it was oxygen. Kerr's squads thrived because egos dissolved into movement. The ball found the open man, the system rewarded patience, and the joy of play became contagious. But joy has been harder to find lately. The tension between old and new, veterans chasing one more title, youngsters demanding larger roles, has created an invisible divide. Kuminga, once heralded as the bridge to the future, has voiced frustration about minutes and usage. He wants touches, the veterans want trust. Enter Tyler Herro, whose confidence borders on defiance. In Miami, that energy occasionally grated on teammates, but Butler learned to channel it. "You don't tell Tyler to chill," Butler said during the 2023 playoffs. "You let him cook, then you live with it." Golden State might need exactly that spark, a scorer fearless enough to take shots even when Curry hesitates to force them. The question is cultural: can Kerr's system, built on harmony, coexist with Harrow's heat-check swagger? Assistant coach Chris DeMarco thinks so. "Tyler's edge reminds me of early Draymond," he said. "He competes. You can refine that. What you can't teach is courage." The origin of a scorer. To understand why the Warriors covet him, you trace Harrow's path back to Wisconsin, a snow-dusted suburb outside Milwaukee where he first practiced shooting in a backyard rim nailed to a garage. His story, as ESPN chronicled in 2020, began with rejection. He once committed to Wisconsin before flipping to Kentucky, facing backlash from hometown fans. He responded by torching opponents with poise that belied his age. At Kentucky, John Calipari let him experiment. "He wasn't scared of the lights," Calipari recalled. "That's what I remember. Big moments didn't shrink him." Miami drafted him 13th overall in 2019, and by his rookie postseason he was already a folk hero, strutting down the bubble sidelines with a snarl after hitting dagger threes. Harrow's personality, part Midwestern grit, part Miami flash, has always divided observers. Supporters call him fearless, critics call him cocky. To Golden State, that duality may be appealing. For a team once defined by confidence, from Curry's shimmy to Thompson's silent stoicism, Harrow represents a generational echo of their own audacity. Jimmy Butler's shadow. Reuniting Butler and Harrow would be one of the NBA's most fascinating experiments. Their relationship in Miami was complex, mutual respect wrapped in friction. Butler pushed Harrow relentlessly, questioning his defense, testing his maturity. "He's got to earn it," Butler said in 2022, when asked about Harrow starting. A year later, the two were laughing together after eliminating Boston again. Now imagine them sharing a locker room again, this time under Kerr's quieter authority. Butler's relentless work habits. Now imagine them sharing a locker room again, this time under Kerr's quieter authority. Butler's relentless work habits might lift the team's intensity. Harrow's shot creation could free him from constant ball-handling duties. For Curry, who often shoulders leadership by example rather than command, Butler's vocal edge could be both a blessing and a challenge. The three stars would need alignment: Curry's joy, Butler's ferocity, Harrow's ambition. If that triangle harmonizes, it could rival any big three in the league. Steph's calm, Jimmy's chaos, Tyler's confidence. An anonymous scout summarized. If they find rhythm, good luck stopping them. 9. Tactical implications. On the floor, the potential combinations tantalize tacticians. Kerr's offense is predicated on perpetual motion, screens, cuts, split actions that punish defensive indecision. Harrow's ability to handle and pick and rolls adds a dimension missing since Durant left, a secondary creator who can collapse defenses and hit shooters. Picture a sequence. Curry runs off a stagger screen on the weak side while Harrow initiates high pick and roll with Green. The defense hesitates. Switch and Curry is open, trap and Harrow finds Green short rolling to kick. It's basketball geometry, and Harrow adds new angles. Defensively, the fit is trickier. Harrow's lateral quickness is average, and opposing guards often target him. Kerr's system hides weaknesses through communication and help rotations, but it requires discipline. Butler's presence helps. His instinct to switch, rotate, and bark assignments could shield Harrow from mismatches. 10. The numbers behind the narrative. Analytics departments across the league have already modeled scenarios. According to Synergy data, Harrow generated 1.09 points per possession as a pick-and-roll ball handler last season, top 15% among guards. When paired with an elite shooter like Curry, simulations project that number could climb to 1.17, effectively turning Golden State into a top 5 offense again. From a spacing perspective, Harrow's 37.5% accuracy on contested threes forces defenders to stay glued, opening driving lanes for Butler and Curry. His pull-up mid-range game, once criticized, now ranks above league average, particularly from the right elbow. Salary cap analysts, however, note the downside. Golden State would owe roughly $285 million in total payroll and tax penalties if no contracts are shed. It's the cost of chasing greatness. Cap expert Bobby Marks said on ESPN's Hoop Collective. They can afford it, but they better win. The lights were blazing bright at Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles, and the energy was electric. On a night that marked the opening of a brand new NBA season, all eyes were fixed on the Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers, two franchises steeped in legacy, pride, and championship DNA. Fans came expecting fireworks from the familiar stars, Steph Curry, LeBron James, and the newly added Jimmy Butler. Yet, by the end of the night, it wasn't the legends who stole the headlines. It was Jonathan Kuminga, the 23-year-old forward from the Democratic Republic of Congo, who rose above expectations and delivered the performance the Warriors had been searching for. The Warriors came into this season surrounded by questions. Could their veteran core still compete at the highest level? Could Steph Curry continue to defy time? Could Steve Kerr find the right blend of youth and experience to keep Golden State among the NBA's elite? On Tuesday night, some of those questions found early answers. With Kuminga stepping into the spotlight, the Warriors didn't just win 119-109 over the Lakers. They rediscovered something they had been missing: youthful energy, defensive intensity, and an emerging star who could balance the team's aging core. Steph Curry played his part, as always. 23 points, clutch shooting, and the kind of leadership that has defined an era of basketball. With a minute left on the clock, Curry sank a 35-foot dagger, a reminder that his range and poise remain unmatched. But the story behind that shot was written by Kuminga, whose presence had changed the tone of the game long before Curry's heroics. Starting unexpectedly, Kuminga delivered 17 points on 6 of 11 shooting, grabbed 9 rebounds, and dished out 6 assists, just one short of his career high. His energy rippled through every possession, every transition play, every defensive rotation. He looked confident, composed, and hungry. When reporters asked him to describe his performance, Kuminga simply said, "It was decent." The room broke into laughter, because everyone knew it was much more than that. Draymond Green called him a star. Jimmy Butler, who had just dropped 31 points and gone a perfect 16 for 16 from the free throw line, praised his young teammate. Even Curry, the most unflappable of them all, nodded in approval. There was a new sense of balance in Golden State's locker room, and it started with Kuminga's growth. Coach Steve Kerr, always calm and calculated, couldn't hide his satisfaction. "I think he just has a better sense of what's needed now compared to the past years," Kerr told reporters. For Kerr, that statement meant everything. The Warriors' dynasty has long been built on chemistry, understanding, and adaptability, not just raw talent. For years, Kuminga showed flashes of brilliance but struggled to find consistent minutes in Kerr's complex system. On opening night, he didn't just fit into the system, he elevated it. Jimmy Butler's arrival, meanwhile, has added a new layer to Golden State's identity. The 36-year-old veteran brings leadership, defensive grit, and a relentless work ethic that perfectly complements the Warriors' trademark flair. But what's truly remarkable is Butler's mentorship of Kuminga. "I just want to help JK be great," Butler said after the game. "We've been kicking it, hanging out, watching film, and working on our game together. I know how great he wants to be and how great he can be." That mentorship is already paying dividends. Kuminga spoke openly about how much he's learned from Butler, about positioning, patience, and decision-making. "Just his knowledge of the game," Kuminga said. "As much as he knows, that's what I've been learning." And Kerr agrees. "Jimmy's really talked to him a lot during camp," he said. "He's taken him aside after practices, helped him stay locked in. You can see the impact." For Golden State, the timing couldn't be better. With Draymond and Curry creating their signature chaos on the floor, a mix of speed, motion, and unpredictability, Butler has become the stabilizer. "He provides that stability, that ability to get to the line and settle the game down," Kerr said. "He never turns the ball over. He just controls the game." The contrast between chaos and control is exactly what makes this Warriors team so intriguing. It's a balance of experience and youth, of rhythm and restraint. But the night wasn't without its surprises, particularly for the Lakers. Fans were left wondering, where was LeBron James? The Lakers captain missed the opener, reportedly due to minor discomfort and load management, a strategic decision by the team to preserve his body for the long grind of the season. Even in his absence, the Lakers battled hard behind Luka Doncic, who exploded for 43 points, showing why he's one of the most gifted scorers in the game. Yet, for all his brilliance, Golden State's composure never wavered. Kuminga's defense, his ability to challenge shots, rotate effectively, and avoid fouls, allowed the Warriors to avoid double-teaming Doncic. That single adjustment made all the difference. As the final buzzer sounded, fans inside Crypto.com Arena could sense it. Something about this Warriors team felt different. Not necessarily younger, but renewed. The swagger was back, the chemistry was alive, and the future looked brighter than it had in months. Now imagine them sharing a locker room again, this time under Kerr's quieter authority. Butler's relentless work habits might lift the team's intensity. Harrow's shot creation could free him from constant ball-handling duties. For Curry, who often shoulders leadership by example rather than command, Butler's vocal edge could be both a blessing and a challenge. The three stars would need alignment: Curry's joy, Butler's ferocity, Harrow's ambition. If that triangle harmonizes, it could rival any big three in the league. Steph's calm, Jimmy's chaos, Tyler's confidence, an anonymous scout summarized. If they find rhythm, good luck stopping them. 9. Tactical implications. On the floor, the potential combinations tantalize tacticians. Kerr's offense is predicated on perpetual motion, screens, cuts, split actions that punish defensive indecision. Harrow's ability to handle and pick and rolls adds a dimension missing since Durant left, a secondary creator who can collapse defenses and hit shooters. Picture a sequence. Curry runs off a stagger screen on the weak side while Harrow initiates high pick and roll with Green. The defense hesitates. Switch and Curry is open, trap and Harrow finds Green short rolling to kick. It's basketball geometry, and Harrow adds new angles. Defensively, the fit is trickier. Harrow's lateral quickness is average, and opposing guards often target him. Kerr's system hides weaknesses through communication and help rotations, but it requires discipline. Butler's presence helps. His instinct to switch, rotate, and bark assignments could shield Harrow from mismatches. 10. The numbers behind the narrative. Analytics departments across the league have already modeled scenarios. According to Synergy data, Harrow generated 1.09 points per possession as a pick-and-roll ball handler last season, top 15% among guards. When paired with an elite shooter like Curry, simulations project that number could climb to 1.17, effectively turning Golden State into a top 5 offense again. From a spacing perspective, Harrow's 37.5% accuracy on contested threes forces defenders to stay glued, opening driving lanes for Butler and Curry. His pull-up mid-range game, once criticized, now ranks above league average, particularly from the right elbow. Salary cap analysts, however, note the downside. Golden State would owe roughly $285 million in total payroll and tax penalties if no contracts are shed. It's the cost of chasing greatness. Cap expert Bobby Marks said on ESPN's Hoop Collective. They can afford it, but they better win. He's communicating, rotating, setting screens, and crashing boards like a man who knows this might define his season. To understand the weight of this moment, we have to rewind. Kuminga's story isn't just about basketball. It's about patience, pride, and persistence.